Welcome everyone, we are Team Rocket here to present to you Digidesk, a one-stop solution of all compliance and regulatory activities for businesses. Meet Brown Girls Closet, an online business which started about a year ago and has received a considerable amount of success during this time. Now that things are starting to open, they want to formalize their business so that they can get a small loan from a bank to expand it. In order to do so, they will need three things: a trade license, registration in RJSC, and a BIN, which is the registration for VAT. Now, this may sound like three small tasks, but in reality, if you want to do this in Bangladesh, you will have to go through a long, elaborate process where you have to go back and forth among multiple government bodies and banks and third parties. The elaborate, confusing figure here illustrates this. The worst part is things do get expensive as intermediaries start to enter the process and you have to go to many different offices physically. Assuming that you go through it all, getting a bank loan is still another long process, and after getting it, registering the loan as mortgage is yet another task. At this point, we are going to stop and introduce you to three names which are going to come repeatedly. RJSC is the body which registers all businesses and mortgages in Bangladesh. Every year, you will have to file annual returns to them. NBR is the body which deals with taxes, duties, and VATs in Bangladesh. You have to get BIN, TIN, etc. licenses from them. VITA is the body which works directly under the Prime Minister's office to improve the investing scenario in Bangladesh. Now back to our case. Let's shift our perspective to the bank which is going to give the loan. Meet EBL, one of the largest banks of the country which wants to give out more loans. But to do so, what they often want but miserably lack is reliable information about the business, reliable information about the owner, and credit history of the business and its owners. This is not just the case of Brown Girls Closet and EBL. This is the most common scenario of Bangladesh where businesses shy away from registering and banks cannot trust information to give loans. As a result, 99.8% businesses stay in the informal economy. Our FDI to GDP rate is low and we lose out thousands of crores of taka to non-performing loans and misinvoicing. In other words, lack of trust in information. Looking at the ease of doing business, we linger at the bottom in starting to do a business, getting credit, paying taxes, or protecting minority investors amongst our peers. The required time, incurred costs, and number of stakeholders are high. This eventually led us to the 168th position in ease of doing business in 2020. So in the whole system that we talked about, there are key three stakeholders: businesses and investors, government, and financial institutions. For the businesses, the process is lengthy, expensive, and complicated. In simple words, inconvenient. Due to this, they eventually lose their interest in getting registered. For the government, the process is fragmented and redundant. Different bodies do not share information, data becomes vulnerable, and eventually the government loses its revenue. And finally, financial institutions cannot trust the system. They look for alternatives to verify information, making it expensive. People who need the loan don't get it, and people who get the loan don't repay. To summarize, our problem statement is businesses in Bangladesh face a fragmented, inconvenient, and distrusted process for executing compliance and regulatory activities. This brings us to our solution, Digidesk, a one-stop solution of all compliance and regulatory activities for businesses. In a very simplified way, you as a business enter our system through the certificate authority and apply for services of RJSC, NBR, and City Corporation. We store the usage data in a database and pass the relevant ones to their respective APIs. Once you have paid the government fees, they verify your information in different layers. At this part, they can coordinate with each other through TLS channels. Once done, respective information gets stored in their own databases, and the committer stores the certificates, verified accounts, and sensitive information in the blockchain. Mind you, this is a permissioned private blockchain. On the other part, financial institutions can access the information via our interface from the blockchain with just one click only if the company allows them to view it. What we provide here is a one-stop service where there is only one server but multiple nodes with different accessibility. You can simply pay all government fees from your home and all your data is immutable, verified, and protected. To further break down the process, businesses will provide their name, email ID, user number, and phone number, etc. information to open an account in the system. This will be validated by BETA as the certificate authority in step 2 and the users will get an MSP. Once an account is open, a user can file for different services from RJSC, NBR, and City Corporation separately or together. Remember that if a user inputs any information, the same one will not have to be inputted again for other services, whether they are together or not. This will reduce redundancy in the whole process. After information and supporting documents are given, they can complete their payments through banking gateways or direct channels. In the step 5, an authentic communication channel and a TLS will be created among the peer nodes, which are again RJSC, NBR, and CC. They can only access information as per their requirements. Once the verification is done, the supporting documents will be stored in their databases of the respective organizations, and Committer will store the certificates and financial statements in the blockchain. The users will get a read-only version of the certificates. On the other hand, institutions can request companies for any specific information. Company will generate a one-time view-only company code from our system and can forward it to the institutions. Finally, institutions can use the code to get any information. In this whole process, company users receive a seamless service and financial institutions receive verified, trusted information through our system. Why use blockchain for this? The first reason is building trust. There is no option of changing any data, and all data is verified. Data is distributed among different nodes and everything is decentralized. This will remove all the intermediaries and build trust in the system. The second reason is the streamlined, seamless service. Our solution will bring down required time to register a company from 20 days to 5. Better coordination among stakeholders is ensured, redundancy is removed, and the cost to receive the service and verify information will come down by at least 30%. Our services will mainly cater to 3 different customer segments. Firstly, businesses can register into our system as new companies, the number of which is approximately 7,000 each year. The second segment is an already registered company, the number of which is about 180,000 each year now, who are obliged to file annual returns. Finally, about 155 financial institutions and 1,200 institutional investors in our country can use the system to access verified information upon permission from private companies. We have 2 layers of partners in the system. Digidesk, RJC, NBR, BIDA act as strategic partners, maintaining individual databases, verifying and endorsing documents in the system. Bangladesh Bank, other payment gateways or banks, and ICT division FBCCI will act as support partners, providing support for infrastructure, policymaking, and payment services. Finally, BIDA will own the system and oversee all activities. They will coordinate among all partners and the Bangladesh government. For our competition, there are multiple intermediaries, online-offline mixed method of services, and no integration in the current system. In Digidesk, there will be no direct or indirect competition as it is a government-owned solution. The need for intermediaries will no longer be there as well. In our governance, we use MongoDB in our database component. Mostly supporting documents and usage data will be stored off-chain, and the certificates, verified financial statements, and licenses will be stored on-chain. Under Hyperledger Fabric, TLS channels will be used to create authentic communication channels among user to endorser and endorser to endorser. No cryptography will be used as it is a private blockchain. Our detailed architecture sheds light on all necessary governance components, the flow of work, and the network structure. We will be using MSP for our identity management. As we will use a permission blockchain, users can only access read-only data, endorsers can access what they require for verification, and institutions can access data upon permission. We will use Node.js for our node component, Kubernetes cluster as resource container, Tailwind CSS and style component for UI, and React.js for front-end library. Our network deployment will take place in 4 steps as shown below. In this whole process, the risks we might face in implementation are regarding digitalizing existing fragmented records and cooperation from different bodies. Lack of tech savviness and adaptability will be the main technical risk, and infrastructural issues and auditing issues will be the risks of operations. To mitigate them, the governance through our central body under BIDA focus on IT training and infrastructure development, use of biometric systems, and validator rules will be deployed. Our system will be deployed in 4 stages. In the initiation stage, we will create a central body, start digitizing records, and start setting up our infrastructure. In the testing stage, we will develop our prototype, create identity management and access control, and start testing in sprints and mini-burst runs. After another stage of beta testing, we will be finally having our system up and gradually explore other options to scale Digidesk. The 2 key sources of revenue will come from service charges and subscription fees. Subscription fees from the financial institutions and investors will contribute to 57% of our total revenue. The rest will come from companies as service charges, which they will pay with government fees. The key fields of expenditure are salary, rent, training and development, research, utilities, and marketing. For this project, we will require about 8 crore taka. Payback period is about 7.5 years. We have a significantly positive NPV and an IRR of 16%. Apart from the financials, we will achieve lower agency costs, higher collaboration, safer verified immutable information, easier, cheaper, and faster process to formalize a business, and lower costs to verify information. To top it off, through this we will move one step forward to achieve SDG goals 8, 9, and 16 and move up the Ease of Doing Business Index by World Bank. We are Team Rocket presenting Digidesk, and thank you very much.